You think you're lazy? You're not. Your brain is actually working against you on purpose, and it has been doing this your entire life without you noticing. Here's the thing, nobody tells you about procrastination. It's not a character flaw. It's not poor discipline. It's a survival mechanism from thousands of years ago, still running in your skull right now, sabotaging your Tuesday afternoon to-do list. If you've ever sat down to write a report, open your laptop, and then suddenly needed to reorganize your desk, check your phone, or refill your water bottle 3 times in 10 minutes, you already know this feeling. You didn't choose that. Your brain chose it for you. Picture this. It's 3 p.m. You have a deadline in 2 hours. You know exactly what you need to do. And instead, you find yourself scrolling through your phone for 20 minutes, fully aware that you're wasting time, unable to stop. That gap between what you know and what you do is not weakness, it's neuroscience. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why it happens, and more importantly, what actually fixes it. So, let's get into the science, because your brain is running 3 separate systems that are actively working against your productivity, and most people only know about one of them. The first is your amygdala, the part of your brain responsible for detecting threats. Here's what almost nobody realizes. Your amygdala cannot tell the difference between a physical threat, like a predator, and a psychological threat, like a hard task that might expose your incompetence. When you sit down to do difficult work, especially work where you might fail or be judged, your amygdala treats it exactly like danger. It triggers the same stress response your ancestors felt facing a wild animal. That's why hard tasks feel physically uncomfortable. Your body is bracing for an attack that isn't coming. But here's where it gets interesting. The second mechanism is something researchers call temporal discounting. Your brain is wired to massively overvalue immediate rewards and undervalue future ones. Studies on decision-making show that a reward available right now can feel more than twice as valuable as an identical reward available even 1 week later. This means checking your phone for 10 seconds of dopamine will always feel more urgent to your brain than a project due in 3 days. Even if the project matters infinitely more to your life, your brain isn't calculating importance. It's calculating immediacy. And then there's the third piece, the one most productivity content completely ignores. Your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for planning, focus, and willpower, is metabolically expensive to run. It burns through glucose fast, which means after using it for just 90 minutes of deep focus, your brain literally starts rationing it, forcing you toward easier, lower effort tasks to conserve energy. This is why you can start a task motivated and sharp, and feel your focus completely collapse an hour and a half later. That's not you losing willpower. That's your brain hitting a resource limit and pulling the plug. So, you've got a threat detector treating your to-do list like a predator, a reward system that only cares about right now, and a focus system that runs out of fuel. 3 systems, all working against the fourth one, your intentions. But here's where most people get it wrong. They think the solution is more discipline, more willpower, just try harder. And that advice is exactly backwards, because underneath all of this is a deeper psychological truth. Your brain isn't trying to sabotage your success. It's trying to protect you. Every one of these mechanisms exists because, for most of human history, conserving energy and avoiding social risk actually kept you alive. The caveman who rested when he didn't need to hunt outlived the one who burned energy chasing unnecessary effort. The person who avoided public failure protected their standing in the tribe, which meant survival. Your brain is running ancient software on a modern operating system, and it hasn't gotten the memo that a difficult email is not a lion. This explains why guilt and self-criticism never actually fix procrastination. When you call yourself lazy, you're adding another threat for your amygdala to detect. You're making the emotional experience of the task worse, which makes your brain avoid it even harder. The very shame you feel for procrastinating is often the thing extending it. That's the paradox almost nobody talks about. Trying to force yourself through shame activates the exact system that's stopping you in the first place. So, what actually works? Not willpower, not motivation. Strategy that works with your brain instead of against it. First, shrink the task until your amygdala stops seeing it as a threat. Don't tell yourself to write the report. Tell yourself to open the document and write one sentence. That's it. This sounds too small to matter, but it works because your brain only panics at perceived difficulty, not actual difficulty. Once you're in motion, momentum takes over, and starting was always the hardest part. Second, exploit temporal discounting instead of fighting it. Create an immediate reward for starting, not finishing. Tell yourself you get to check your phone guilt-free after 15 focused minutes. You're giving your brain the instant gratification it craves, just attached to the behavior you actually want. Third, respect the 90-minute glucose limit. Stop pushing through mental exhaustion like it's a discipline problem. Work in focused blocks of 60 to 90 minutes. Then take a real break, not a phone scroll, an actual break, away from screens. You'll get more done in 4 focused 90-minute blocks than in 8 hours of forcing yourself through fog. None of this is about trying harder. It's about understanding that your brain has rules, and once you know the rules, you can work inside them instead of constantly fighting a battle you were never going to win through sheer force. So, here's my question for you. Which of these 3, the threat response, the reward system, or the energy limit, do you think affects you the most? Tell me in the comments because I read every single one. And if this changed how you think about procrastination, subscribe, because next week I'm breaking down the psychological reason your brain resists rest just as much as it resists work, and that one might surprise you even more than this.